Yeah, I know, baby. I love you too. No, listen, honey. Shh. I gotta go. I got like 20 seconds before I go on to the conversation. The conversation, that's the name of the show. I gotta be there. No, wait. Baby, I got 10 seconds. No, I love you. I'll see you later on. All right, bye. Love you. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, bye.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to The Conversation. We are back together again. It's been a couple of weeks, and it's been such a joy to welcome so many incredible guests from the creative industries, not just in the UK here, where I'm coming to you from, but also in the States, and getting an audience of people who are now starting to tune in around the world as well. So thank you so much for joining us here. It's an opportunity to just chat to people about what they do and how I guess they have come to do what they do. And one of those that I'm so delighted has said yes to being on the show is, in my opinion, one of the greatest voices that we have across film and television. It's this man. My guest this week on The Conversation is Red Pepper. Hello.
How you doing, Dominic? How you doing, my man? So honored to be invited, to be honest with you. It was like, whoa, would you like to go on the conversation? Hell yeah.
Do you know what? I really appreciate it, because you're so busy. Actually trying to tie you down in life is probably quite difficult. It's probably for family and friends as well, because you're on all the time, aren't you? You're always working, which is a great thing.
Seriously, I mean, a lot of folks have said 2020 was a son of a bee for them. And to be honest with you, it was for me in a way, because once you have a home setup, you have a home studio, all of a sudden, oh my Lord, you wake up in the morning, your diary is full. You go to bed at night, you're getting tweets and texts and all the rest of it. Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm not complaining, but you know, it's been a busy year for me, and it's going into 2021 is fantastic. So, you know, I'm busy for a reason, I guess, because I'm probably doing something right, I guess.
Well, you've been doing it for a long time now, and I wonder if we could start off maybe by taking it right the way back. I want to know when you knew you had this tone, this voice that was very different to anyone else.
I guess I knew when my sisters kept bugging me. Let's take it back a little bit. One morning, I'd say about 14, 15, around about there, probably 14 actually. I'm coming down the stairs just like anybody else on a normal day, and I got this little boy voice inside of me, you know, and I was like, good morning. But not quite like that, but it was that kind of, you know, good morning, Mom. Good. Yeah. My voice kept going up and down, up and down, up and down that day. And I got 6 sisters, right, and 3 brothers, and they're laughing their behind up. They said, whoa, what's going on with his voice? And I couldn't control it. It was never as deep as it is now, because I'm a grown man now, but it kept, and I honestly couldn't control it. I could feel the vibration in my chest. Now, my mother, typically, she's in the kitchen singing. She was a gospel singer. She sung, and she was a nurse as well, but she was usually in the church, or she's in the kitchen cooking for everybody, and she could hear my voice. And she goes, oh, you think you're a man now? And I said, yeah, well, I sound like a man, don't I? And I just realized at that point, especially with my sisters, they just wanted me to get on the telephone and run their boyfriends away who they were not interested in. So I was making a little pocket change from my sisters, shamefully not. I was making a little, you know, I says, well, you know, if you want me to tell them not to come back, you know, you got to give me a little something. And so I just get on the phone and said, listen, hello, Douglas. I heard you given my sister a problem. Show your face around here again, see what happens. That kind of thing. And it was just my voice. I was a weedy kid. I wasn't big and strong as I am now, but then I was quite a weedy, but I had this voice. It was like, whoa. And that's when I realized I had something. I didn't know it was marketable. I didn't know it was going to be what I used to make a living. I didn't know none of that. I just realized I had this strange voice, and it was very attractive to the girls.
Yeah, I should imagine it was red pepper. The amazing thing that happens in life is that you find yourself on a path that you then don't expect, and you were working in
Hmm.
different jobs, and
Hmm.
eventually you were working on the London Underground in the UK on the Tube. And
Yeah.
you're a driver?
I was a driver, yeah. I started off as a guard at the back of the train. You just got to press the buttons and say, mind the doors. Hey, get your handbags out of the doors. Come on, get on there. We got places to go. And then I elevated to a driver after, I think it was about 6 weeks test. And you had to go onto the road and have another guy shadow you until you became a fully fledged train driver. And I was pretty good at it. I was one of those, can I say the word anal? But I was. I was just really meticulous. I didn't want to
Yeah.
make the train jerk when it stopped, and I wore my shirt and my badges and my shoes were polished. I was one of those military style looking cool guys, you know. I wanted to make sure everything was right. So when I used to pull the train into the stations, I was that one guy back in the day. Nowadays, it's automated messages. I was that one guy back in the day that would do all the announcements. So I'd pull into a station and I say, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Waterloo Station. Change here for the Northern Line and the Bank and City Line, City and Bank Line, or whatever. And I do my stuff. Mind the doors, please. Thank you. And I go about my business. I was like that. And that's how I pretty much got discovered driving
So
trains.
so at that point, were you
Yeah.
enjoying using your voice on those announcements? Did you know at that point that it felt comfortable? It felt that you wanted to do it?
Is a pig pork? I enjoyed it. I really genuinely enjoyed driving trains. It's something that a lot of boys want to do for some strange reason. I want to be a truck driver. I want to be a train driver. I want to be a police officer. I want to be all those strange when you think about it. But I wanted to be a train driver. And to be honest with you, in the real world, it's quite monotonous. But it was something I wanted to do. And I'd go up the line, down the line, up the line, down the line, check my timetable, make sure I'm on time and all the rest of it. You know, I'd be the guy who'd say, the train is being held here for a couple of minutes because we're two minutes early. I'm the guy who would tell you a poem over the Tannoy system or say, I noticed a young lady getting on the last stop. You're looking divine this morning. If no one has told you, you're looking splendid, the lady in the red dress. That was me. I would do crazy stuff on the Tannoy and the intercoms. That's how I was. I enjoyed my job. I genuinely enjoyed it
Did your
until the end.
colleagues until the end? Okay, but did your colleagues were they saying to you, "You've got an incredible voice"?
Well, yes and no. Guys got used to it. They were so used to it, and they say stuff about the lower parts of my body has something dropped and whatever, and you know all of that stuff. Typical in a mess room full of men. So they were used to it. Passengers always commented on it, especially when the opposite sex got off the train and they'd give me a wave. Lovely voice, lovely voice. And the gentleman used to say that. Nice voice, mate. Geezer, mate. You sound like Frank Bruno. You know what I mean, Harry? Or I got Frank Bruno or Barry White or the devil. Who was the other guy they used to say I sounded like? I forgot. Don LaFontaine as well. And
Oh yeah.
lots of people used to say all kind of good stuff about I sounded like somebody. And
Well, of
well,
course, that you mentioned Don LaFontaine, and he, of course, in America was known as
mm,
that voice. And you both, actually, I think there's only like three people who have got the similar type of
mm,
tone that then gets used for, those huge movies. We'll come to the movies and how that all happened,
yeah,
but I want to go
mm,
on that platform on one particular morning, one particular day where
mm,
actually we talked about the roads and the crossroads and different things you do in life and things that happen.
mm,
There was that
mm.
particular day, Red, where everything changed.
Oh yeah, big time. I didn't realize it was big time at the time. I'm driving my train, normal day, whatever day it was, a weekday, and it's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. There's rush hour traffic, and so I'm trying to get the people off the train, get the doors shut, move on fast because we got a train every 30 seconds. Literally in London on the tube stations, on the tube system. And I get to Baker Street station. Well, to be honest with you, I got to Oxford Street, which is central London for those who people who don't know, Central London, very busy line, Bakerloo line. And somebody was on the platform having a photo shoot. There was a lady, blonde hair, the Marilyn Monroe, typical white dress, and the breeze is blowing, and these guys are photographing her. It's all professional. And I says, wow. So as I'm pulling in the train, you got to appreciate I'm going this way. The train's moving. And as I'm going past her on the platform, I was like, whoa, damn. So I stopped at the stopping point, opened up the doors, got on the PA system, and I'm giving it the large now. I'm the, hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your driver speaking. It's northbound Bakerloo, all the way, all stations to Watford. A special good morning to the lady in the white dress. You're looking divine this morning. Gentlemen, please give up a seat. That's all I said. So I get 2 stops down the road. We had Regent's Park after that, then Baker Street. Baker Street station comes. A guy comes on. A guy jumps off the train. I can see him in the monitor. He jumps off the train and he makes a beeline. He's running. But because he's a grown man and he's got a suit and a briefcase, it was out of place to see somebody sprinting like that. I says, is there a problem? So I waited until he got all the way up to my cab, which is like 7 cars. I opened the window. I says, is everything okay? And he had the campest voice in the world. And he just said, oh, 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 you've got a lovely voice. So I said, well, is that it? Yes, I just wanted to say, what a lovely voice you've got. And I says, okay, listen, I got things to do. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm about to close the window. No. I won't mention the man's name because it embarrass him, right? But he was a CEO of a television company. And he said, listen, take my card. Let's exchange numbers. And in those days, nobody had mobile phones. It was very new. And I had this thing by a company called 1-to-1. I think it was a long telephone. It wasn't the little slim ones we got now. And I said, yeah, anybody takes my number. It was cool to have somebody in my, I had 0 people. I had nobody in my contacts because it was new time.
Yeah,
not a lot of people had. So I'm there putting my digits in the, fluorescent number dashboard. And next thing I knew, the guy's ringing me up. And he said, I'd like you to come in to do some voiceover work. And I says, voiceover work? Not exactly sure what that is, to be honest, but I thought, yeah, sure. When can you come in? So I thought, well, I'm starting at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. How about me coming at 2 and I'll come in, I'll do this thing you want me to do. So I've got my London Underground uniform on the following day. And I come into this fancy studio called Molinaire Studios in Dufour's Place in central London, in Soho, the heart of, production realm, post-production world. Fantastic spot. And I go in there and I'm like, wow, look at this place. Ain't this something else? Wow. And so I'll go in there and go up to the first floor. It's really cool. I go into these studios, proper studios. I'm talking about, we're talking about desks with about 1,000 slides on there. And I'm thinking, wow, this is so cool. So he gave me the sheet of A4 paper and he says to me, I want you to go in there and let's say, imagine just a piece of sheet of paper like this. And he says, I want you to go in there on the top line. When the red light comes on, read what's on the top line. When the red light comes on again, read what's on the second line. So, okay, I've gone and put my headphones on. I've got my uniform on to go to work. I'm just a train driver, right? And wait for the red light. And there's all these people, executives on the other side of the glass, arms folded, just looking at me, real serious. Thinking, Jesus, no pressure. But I wasn't even realizing what I was getting into. So typical, red light comes on. In a world, red light comes on. We're one man. Blah, 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 blah. I can't remember exactly what it was. Coming soon to a cinema near you. And they're looking through, and all I could see was teeth. Everybody's like, and I'm thinking, okay. So I just typically said, was that cool? Was that all right? I'll do it again if you want me to. No. And they press the button, coming through. So he comes through into the booth and he shook my hand. You know, one of those handshakes where you should have let go 5 seconds ago. He held onto my hand and he shook it. That was fantastic. And I'm thinking, okay, brother, let go of my hand. And we'll give you a call. We'll be in touch. So I didn't think nothing of it. I just went on, got to my job, done my whole shift, got home, my wife at the time says, "Oh, this guy keeps ringing here, keeps asking if you were half an hour." I says, "Okay, I know who that is." Following morning, he told me to come into Central London again, and I said, "Okay." Came in there, and he says, "Listen, I'd like you to work for 1 hour per week." I knew nothing about the industry then, nothing at all. 1 hour per week for twice as much as I was getting for 48 hours on the underground. Let's put it that way. And I thought, whoa, slow down. Did you say 1 hour per week? He says, yes, just 1 hour per week. Okay. And my dad always says, never take what you're offered. Always ask for what you want. And so I said, okay, I'll get back to you. I'll talk to my people. I don't have no people, Dominic. I ain't got no people. I'm a train driver, for Christ's sake,
I
a
love
common
this.
man. But I got to give it large, right? So I says, okay, I'll talk to my people. I'll get back to you. So I spoke to my wife at the time. I told her what he had said to me, and she goes, "No, you must be mistaken. Did he say for 100 hours a week? Did he say for what?" I said, "Nah, he said 1 hour, 1 hour." A contract for forgot how long it was, 2-year contract or something. He called it a retainer then, and I didn't have a clue. What's a retainer? I don't know. I'm a train driver. I'm just a common man. And so anyway, we started doing that, and then the problem arose where I'm doing a shift on the trains, and he'd call me out of the blue and say, "Can you come in 3 hours? Can you come in from tomorrow?" And it was clashing with my shifts,
Yeah, it must
and
have
I
been
didn't want to
impossible.
lose that. Didn't want to lose that kind of money, so I told London Underground a little lie. I says, "Well, listen, I'm sick. I want to be booked off sick, all that kind of stuff." And then they did the channel did a press release on me. I didn't know. And there I am standing with a suit on. The pictures they've got of me on the front of the Evening Standard, which is like, the big paper in London in the evenings. In the front stand, from the underground to Hollywood. And there's me looking all proud and big smile on my face. And I'm thinking, no, the underground ring me up. Are you taking the P? Uh, 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 Bring your cards in, hand your notice in, get out. And so that's how I ended my career with the underground. But I was getting all the good vibes from TV companies and advertising agencies, and people were listening to my voice on the television. Who is that guy? We want to use him. So all of a sudden, I got interest from big brands like Coca-Cola and whoever. And I was starting to make good money. And I felt like a fraud. I honestly did, because I'm a hardworking man. I don't, I work hard for a living. And all of a sudden I was getting these 1 hour here, 1 hour there. And sometimes you go in the studio for 20 minutes, you've done the job. And, one-liners. And I was making good money. I thought, this ain't right. And I got my first paycheck from my agency, and it was silly money. And I said, well, I need to ring these people up. And I rang up my agents and I said, listen, I've been paid, there's too many zeros here. And they said to me, well, you got to appreciate that they're using your advert worldwide. They're making millions out of that advert. That is a drop in the ocean to them. And so I had to kind of recoil and think about it that way. But because I'm a common man, I am very humble. I'm not one of these guys who give it large, that I'm this and I'm that and I'm the other. I'm just a simple man. I don't mess around with people's emotions and all that. I'm just humble. And I started to recognize that I've got something special here.
Yeah,
And
and
I really didn't enjoy it for the first 5 years.
that's
I
amazing,
didn't.
isn't it? That's amazing that, it actually took a while for it to sort of sink in. I really love that. And I know that about you. For people who have maybe are seeing you for the first time, that they've heard your voice over the years, but they're hearing you have this conversation with us. We already had a comment of someone saying best conversation yet. I think that you are humble. I know you outside of this conversation. We've had conversations about your career and the world we both work within. But I guess you didn't need to be the big man, because quite frankly, the voice did it anyway, Red. So that does it in that sense. I just want to pick up on that point about you 5 years that you just took to give yourself permission. And I've talked a lot on this conversation about the imposter syndrome that a lot of creatives have, where it almost feels like, am I allowed to do this? Should I be doing this?
Well, Yeah, it was bad, but the main thing was I was raising a young family,
Mm.
and I was absolutely scared because there is no contract on the underground. You're there for life. You if you drive your trains and be a good boy, you get your pension, you get your this. It's all good. You get family benefits, whatever. You got a job for life if you keep your nose clean. But with this, you're self-employed, and I was never like that before.
Mm.
And I always kept thinking it'll never end. Will the phone stop ringing? What makes me think that I'm so special? I listen to other voice artists, and some will say, well, I only get 1 gig a year. I only get 1 gig every 2 months. I only get this. And I'm thinking that can't feed my family. And I was worried.
You were
And
worried about putting
somebody
them at
said to
risk.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, that exactly. And I got myself a nice home and all the rest of it and lovely kids coming up. And my ex-wife said to me, you know what your problem is? I said, what? She goes, you're not enjoying it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I says, yeah, easy for you to say I'm the breadwinner here. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Forget about tomorrow. Tomorrow may never come. Enjoy it. And I said, okay. So I took a leaf out of her book and some other people's guys at Angel Sound and Rob and all those guys down at in Central London in different studios. And they said, go for it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. And I did. And I just relaxed and I realized I was lacking belief in my own ability, even though I was not exactly king of the game, but I was well known for my voice. And I just really was worried more about other people than myself. You understand? So, yeah. And then eventually it's like, you know what? I'm pretty good at this, aren't I? Without being cocksure, without being
Sure.
big headed, without being giving it large, as they say in this country. I'm very, very, very humble.
But you know what? When you did enjoy it, this all happened.
Mm. Yeah, the good old days of movie trailers. Men in Black, saving the earth from the scum of the universe. I remember that line. I forget the Armageddon of 12 ordinary men. Independence Day. I forget that. Jurassic Park was, what was it? Something big is coming. Something bloody, bloody, bloody. Jurassic Park was funny because I ended up talking to Steven Spielberg, who was listening in from Los Angeles, I think it was,
So
into
you were in
London, and
what?
I was doing it.
So you're in a booth.
Yeah, I was in a booth in Central
Yeah.
London. It was called Space. Beautiful studio, which kind of it went under because of some financial irregularities or whatever, or difficulties, should I say? Not irregularities. Take that back. Difficulties. Beautiful. It was like a space pod, and I was in there. Beautiful and great big glass. But I thought, wow, this is cool. And I just started to read the script, and you could hear the doom, doom, and I've got to get the green light. Something is coming. Doom. Something big. Doom. Like the footprints of the dinosaur. And then I just heard this voice in my head going, hey, that's a cool voice, man. And I thought somebody had screwed up and was recording over what I was saying. So I was a little bit
Yeah.
naughty with my choice words, and and they're all telling me in the studio, shut your big mouth. That's Steven Spielberg. They've written it on a plaque and they're holding it up again. So oh, Steven Spielberg, how you doing, sir? And I was all, kissed behind. Yeah, and yeah, but that was enjoyable. I've done so many movies and game characters as well. And yeah, I got around being a lot of TV shows and game shows, and
Yeah.
I move on. But the movie trailers, they started to fade away. It got to a point where I don't know what was behind their thinking, but all of a sudden they started to do movies with just the captions on or more dialogue. I've always said nowadays you can see a movie just by the trailer. They tell you every goddamn detail of it. It's like, why am I going to see this? You've just told the story. And whereas back in the day,
yeah, I mean, we have a thing at home where we're watching a show, and they give you everything that's about to happen in that very show, and you're like, and I hate the bit at the end where you don't press it quickly enough, and you suddenly get that bit where it's telling you everything next week. You're like, no, I just invested this hour. What are you doing?
And anybody with half a brain can work out the whole story. In the trailer, it's like, why did you do that? Well, we can see he's going to get shot. You're going to see he's going to fall in love with her. You can see she's going to lose her leg. You're going to see he's going to be the rebel. You can see it all, and it's like, no. Back in the day, even though I'm a bit biased. It was nice to go into the cinema and you had that, that typical movie trailer type time. It's a sleepy town, and only one man will stand alone at the end. It started in 1874, but now, 100 years later, the spawn is alive. It's whatever. That's just me making up something of me. But there was something about sitting in that cinema and going dun 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 dun. That's it, Pearl and Dean and all the rest of it. And you knew the trailers were coming on, and you're gonna sit down, you're gonna hear that narrative, you're gonna hear that it was typical in a world one day, or it could be anything far away. Sometimes it was like very lighthearted. It was Dominic King, The Conversation, a Quinn Martin. You got to, there's different types of voice, but it always drew you in. Nowadays, you just got, it's nothing to me. It's like, and because I love my craft, I love the movies, and to me, it's just they've lost a little something there. But maybe it'll come back.
Do you know my friend Tim, who is watching this right now? Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah, he puts this message up. Actually, sorry, that's hello. That's great. Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. I'll come back to Tim in a second because I just put up the wrong one. Have you done any work on trailers for horror movies or horror series?
Yeah, I remember doing something for. I'm funny because I think what was the first one I did was, I think it was the Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch, yes.
But I can't remember the trailer for that. I can't remember how it went because 30 years later, 20 years later, whatever it is. But Blair Witch Project was the first one, and I remember the guy who was controlling proceedings. He just said, "I want you to scare the out of them. I want you to just be you." And first of all, he wanted me to do all this, and I said, "No disrespect to you. You know your craft. I know my craft. Can we try something?" And he says, "Yeah, go ahead." I said, "Less is more. Less is more. If you got a voice," and I say to all the guys, budding voiceover artists, less is more. Now, you want to get across something, I can either give it to you large, or I can give it to you large. Simple. But if you've got that ambience behind you, and you got the darkness, and you got the little flashing of maybe an eye or an ear or a slash or whatever, you don't need the voiceover to work hard. But
you
gravitas,
get immersed in as well. You get immersed in, don't you? As a watcher, you get really into that. And then if you get that tone right and that voice right, you're suddenly completely in that world. And do you remember when we used to go to the cinema? And we used to go to the cinema, Red, and you actually were scared. I mean, really scared. Not just a kind of like, oh, well, this is going to be a great movie. You literally, between the commercials, between the trailers, you were scared because you thought, oh, I remember that. Listen, as a kid, you had all of that.
I could scare people with a whisper. People say, you can't. And with the right noise behind you or something, you could just do something like, "Look behind you. Look behind you. Not there. There." And you get that off, but it's simple. Look behind you. It's the way you do it. You got to have feeling. I've said to people so many times, you got to have emotion. You've got to have some kind of emotion and empathy and experience and anger. You got to have all those emotions and know how to control them to deliver what the director wants. And you got to be able to ride the groove. You got to be able to see and match your voice to what you're seeing. Some people just spit it out and they'll go 1,000 times and never get that take because they're not really taking in what is in front of them. It's a skill, but once you master it, it's not exactly simple, but yeah, with me it is anyway. Luckily.
In the cinema, Red, back to that question from Tim. So Tim used to work as a projectionist in the cinema, and he remembers hearing your voice, you know, many times in that environment. And I think he, like many of us, you know, those days that they seem to feel like they have gone a bit, because we're all kind of streamers now, aren't we, and the rest, and where we're watching stuff very easily and binge watching and all of that. But there is something very special about it. Tim clearly knew what you and I were immediately talking about, because he's even managed to do that in a message there, going pa 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 da 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 da. You know, those moments were just incredible. And for anyone of a certain age who never got to experience the Pearl and Dean ads, you know, it was just so cool. And they still use it, I think, but they do it in a kind of retro way now, don't they? As a kind of like, you know, just a little mention. We're at the
that was part of the cinema.
Yeah, it was. We're at the halfway stage here on The Conversation. My guest is Red Pepper, voiceover actor, incredible voice. Well, I'm going to talk to him about some of the other roles he's done, particularly different voices too, because, you know, you're hearing his voice, but I know that Red it works with different voices for different occasions. By the way, if you, as you're watching, if you joining us on Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, thank you so much for being with us. We really do appreciate you spending some time with us on this Thursday evening. We're staying together until midnight UK time, and of course, get involved with us. That's the whole point. It's not just me having a conversation with Red. It's also about you getting involved and you know, ask any question that you've always wanted to, because that's the deal.
Yeah, this could be anything. I'm good.
You know, this is a pro here, right here. He literally will. So please do. And you can ask it right now, and I'll take some of those questions for the remainder of our conversation together. I'm going to throw a couple of things out to you, and you don't. I have to answer. It's fair to say, although we've talked about we might cover certain subjects, we haven't gone through all the list of things we're talking about, because that's not what the conversation is. And you say, ask me anything, and we'll go for it. £10 million was a newspaper headline in the Sun newspaper. It said £10 million to protect your vocal cords. I mean, I should imagine. I mean, that was about probably 20 years ago, wasn't it? 10 years ago? I don't know. Do you have to do that as a, because that is your instrument? It is everything, isn't it?
It is. My instrument is my instrument, but I also say, you know, everything is about attitude. Your whole life, everybody's life, everything that everybody does, and once they're awake, is attitude. Attitude is the king. Absolutely. Some folks will say that, you know, they got hit by a car by accident. And I say, no, you didn't. You got hit by a car because you wasn't aware. You know, it's not in every situation, obviously, but generally, when people are careless, they meet problems. My voice is insured. The Sun newspaper and whatever paper it printed in was used. It came from one person, asked me, how much is it insured for? And I said, that's none of your damn business, in a polite way. Right. And but is it insured? You know how folks from the media, they like to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And I says, should we put 10 million? I says, if you want to. That was how that came about.
Wow, that's amazing.
If you want to. So they've got permission because I said, if you want to. They took that as permission. Well, come on now. So my voice is insured, but I don't know what it is, but it's nobody's business. But I know that you got to look after your tools. And I don't party hard. I don't mess around. I don't do drugs. I don't drink at occasions like weddings and stuff like that. I don't smoke. I don't run around and misbehave and all the rest of it. I don't do that. Why? I invest in myself, as I say to everybody who's trying to come through in the voice industry. Invest in yourself what you think you're worth. And that doesn't mean buying the best microphones and all the rest of it. This is your tool. Look after your tool, invest in it, put the right foods in there, put the right drink in there, just look after it, put the right amount of sleep in there, take care of yourself. Because, as I always say, a Rolls Royce is no good without the engine. You may have a Rolls Royce, but if you're going to put cheap oil in there, you ruined it. Then you look after it. And that's what I say about investing in yourself, what you think you are worth. So the millions of pounds or whatever people may think my voice is, what do you call it, insured, or that's pie in the sky. People can think whatever they want. People will want to think that because it sounds amazing, but I did not say it was. That's for sure.
Do you know what I'm very interested in that philosophy of, you know, really looking after something that really you're good at and that you're interested in, and work on it, and never ever, using your word about being humble, never ever think you've reached the pinnacle, because no one ever does. And it is, it's something, and that is really important, that we look at that as a particularly within the creative industries. People have been going through some really tough times recently, and that they're starting to just go, well, what am I good at? How do I do it? What can I achieve? I want to come into the studio with you. Is that all right? Let's I mean, I can't physically, obviously, but we can there virtually. And I'm just looking around that studio with you, Red. You and I have, it's really interesting, because I remember when I first said to you about coming on, we were talking about, our studios, and we both got similar kind of equipment. I noticed we both got the Rodecaster, which is both sitting in our studios. Mine just behind, and yours there. That's a new tool that has been developed that we're starting to use. But also microphones are really interesting to me, because as a voiceover artist, I'm a broadcaster. I like the sound of microphones. I'm a real geek over microphones, but I know you're not.
Yes.
You're not a geek over microphones.
I used to be. I used to be a bit of an idiot when it came to microphones. I say that clearly because I didn't know what I wanted. So if you don't know what you want, or you don't know the craft, or you don't know anything about the damn things, and you're buying 1,000 things, it don't make you a geek. That makes you an idiot, right? And I just used to buy them because that one looks cool, and that one looks great, and that one I didn't understand nothing about dynamics. I didn't understand nothing about dynamic mics or condenser mics. I just knew that the condenser mics sounded great, and then the dynamics sounded, well, not so great. But I'll keep saying to people, like I just said to you with the Rolls Royce, say this is a Electro Voice RE20 for the gigs. They want to know what model it is, because I'm sure someone will say, what microphone are you using? And there is no special effects on here. This is my voice. This is my voice. This is my voice. The only thing I've got on here, the only thing I've got on here, and I'll show you what it is, right? The only thing I've got on here that is, I wouldn't say artificial. I'll put it, hold on a second. No, I'll put it on here. I'll show you the difference. Is this thing called the noise gate. Listen to this. Can you hear that? Right. You can. That's shh, and that's what they call the noise floor. Now you take it off, and you got to clean. So all you got to shh. It just takes off that shh, but it doesn't change my voice. I haven't got anything on here. The RE20. It's one of those broadcast mics that only take your voice from here. If I go off axis, you can hear it straight away. Until this is what I call the sweet spot. Some people have the microphone down here, and they're not really talking into it. But listen to this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Can you see that? The sweet spot is right there, and that's what you got to do. Sweet spot. That is the sweet spot. They make a great arm as well, so you can move it around. No one can hear you. It doesn't have that, messed up sound. I love this. That's my broadcast mic, and when I don't really want the noise in the background. Yeah. Another one here. I got this one. This is something that new kids dream about, but they don't actually. Let me put this on this one. They dream about this, but they don't. You can't afford it because it's a lot of money. It's thousands of pounds. The Neumann. Sorry, I turned it up too loud. The Neumann U87 AI. There is a U67. There's other mics that cost £5,000-6,000. This is around about $2,500, right? But I earned this. I bought this on my 25th year of voicing. I didn't buy it every day because this, I didn't really need it, but I wanted it. So, especially when I had to work from home, I wanted to use the quality that I use in the studios outside. Again, invest in yourself, what you believe you are worth. Yeah, don't be using no iPhone microphone. It says, "Hey, sounds all right." It may sound all right, but nobody wants all right. People want high quality. Yes, what's the problem? I can do the mixing. I heard it all the time. And to me, you can, this microphone technique, there's mic techniques you can use, and a lot of people say, if you talk straight into the mic, it's going to pop. No, it's not. The problem is you. You don't know how to use the damn thing. Yeah. So I'm talking here, you can't hear no popping. If I get close up on it, you can't hear no popping. But if I do, that's a different thing. You got to learn how to use your P's and your B's and still have that quality the microphone is not the problem. Some folks take these and they jack them into really poor preamps. You need preamps for that RE20 as well. You may have a great mic. You get it home, you stick it into whatever you stick it into. You say, Red said this sounds great. It sounds like crap. It's rubbish, mate. No, the fact is the microphones need to be jacked into preamplifiers, microphone preamps, and then you can fine tune. It's a bit like radio, putting up the treble and the bass, but when you got it flat, it sounds poor.
Well,
so
absolutely.
it's about what you put it into. So you gotta, it's the microphone on its own is no good. You have to jack them into the right setup.
But it's funny, Red, because as a radio guy, for me, finding the right sound and having that right microphone, because it becomes part of you. It's your own individual instrument. So, I use lots of different microphones, and I enjoy having different microphones in this studio behind me here. I've got, like you, the RE20, the EV20. It's great. It's fantastic. But equally, like something like this, this is the Stealth from Aston, and I like that. It sounds. I'm using this.
I got one of those.
Yeah, you have. I mean, yeah. See, we're geeking here. We're geeking. But
I know it's terrible.
People will know if they've been watching these. This is the first time I've used this one, and I'm really enjoying the sound of it. It's sounding nice and warm, and it's great. But it is that great thing. People are making comments, about the warmth and the sound, and hearing you and I just talk together. And that's the important thing, isn't it? When people are doing live streams, get the great sound, because that's part of the picture.
Exactly. I mean, we're talking with our eyes. We're talking with our ears. We're seeing with our ears, should I say. The voiceover world is not about seeing me. It's about hearing me. And when you're sitting in your car, or if you are unfortunate enough to not be able to see visually, and somebody's telling you a storybook has to bring out everything. You have to tell that story, and you got to tell it like you mean it. You can't tell it like you're reading it. And that is the thing. A lot of folks don't understand that. And if you're using a poor quality microphone, or you haven't got it set up correctly, that can ruin the whole thing. It really can. I've got a bass voice, so I've got to turn the bass down on these. Otherwise, I sound woolly. And woolly means I sound a bit more like that, and it doesn't sound really great. So I got to put the high end up so that you can still hear the high ends of my voice cleanly and precisely as much as you can hear the bass. So now when you focus on it, you're thinking, actually, that's true. He's clean. His bass is coming through, and his high end is coming through. Oh, yeah. And that takes a little bit of fixing. You got to make sure everything is correct. You can't just, jack it in. Oh, it sounds like crap. Yeah, of course it does, because you haven't set it yet. You haven't even turned it on. It's like walking into a room and, can't see nothing. Turn the damn light on, fool. It's as simple as that. I keep it real. I really do.
You certainly do. Look, we're going to take some questions. If you've got a question for Red, send it in now. You can do that via Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, wherever you are watching, wherever you are in the UK or US or around the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of The Conversation, which I think is our 5th. And thank you so much for the interest that we've got. By the way, if you want to get in touch with The Conversation, with us, and want to sort of chat about what we're doing, then please send a message to laughingfrogproductions@gmail.com. In fact, I don't need to say that. I'll get Red to say that. laughingfrogproductions@gmail.com.
laughingfrogproductions@gmail.com. You got that?
See?
See, what is it with English folks? Love the way I say com, because they say .com, and I say .com. And they say, oh, you say it so nice. Go on, say it again. .com. Go on, say my name. Sarah. Oh my God. I get that all the time. I get folks. Listen, I'll tell you a silly story about the trains. On the train, I haven't been on there for a whole year because of this pandemic. Last time I was on a train, a lady sitting beside me, and my telephone goes up, as it always does, and I really do try to sound like a British builder when I answer the phone. It's like, hello. And then on the other end of the phone, people think they've got the wrong number. So I'm trying to be cool on the phone, but the person who's answering says, who's this? Yeah, it's Red. It's Red. No, it's not. Who is this? And so then I have to be myself. And then I'll go, it's me. It's Red. How you doing? And you always get the people just look around. And you always get the cheeky ladies, usually a lady, to say, "Excuse me, could you put your voice in my answer phone?" Always, always, always. And I'll say, "What's your name?" And they'll say, "Sarah Plunkett" or something. "Hi, you're through to Sarah Plunkett's phone. Me and Sarah are upstairs getting busy. Call me back in a half an hour." You can't say that. You got it, or you want it, or you don't want it. And they take it, and they keep it.
Let's take some questions, Red Pepper. First of all, wow, Tim. Okay, this is Tim saying, I just want to hear Red say something British like Marmite toast with Earl Grey tea. Mind the gap. That's so random. I love it.
Marmite toast with Earl Grey tea. Mind the gap, son. You're having a laugh, Tim. You're having a laugh. Geezer, I'll tell you a funny story, like, because I've been living in London all the time for many, many years. All my mates, they talk like that. Not all of them, but some of them. And I've gone back in my accent. I used to say things like South End. I say, "No, Red, it's South End. You're having geezer." And I live in Kent, and I'll go down and see Ebbsfleet, but I watch Aston Villa. I go to Aston Villa ground a lot. I'm one of their lifelong members, and they talk a different way up there. "Right, who are ya? Who are ya? Who am ya?" And they got that little squeak. So I used to just try and mimic them, "Who am ya? Who am ya? You're right." Yeah. Everyone's got a different accent. You got London, you got kids in London. "Yeah, you get me though, blood. Hey, yo, is that, I know that guy, that's Dominic King, innit? Yeah, I know he does that thing called a conversation, innit? Yo, oh my days." And stuff like that. You hear different accents, and I try to get the pitch, and I try to get the dialect, the accent. And I don't always get it right, but I can do it. And lots of things that I've done, you wouldn't even know I did.
Yeah, that's what I think is really interesting. I love that. I mean, in fact, Benji asking this question: what's been your favorite project to work on, Red?
One of my favorites was Shadow Man. Back in 1994 or 5, somewhere around there. I can't remember, because that was my very first, what do you call it, game? What do the kids call it now? Video games.
Yeah, okay. Video game, yeah.
Yeah. And, and I was Shadow Man, and I didn't have a clue about how to do it, and I was working with some great actors, and they all come into a room together, and we got to bounce off each other. But I was the main character, and they even made Shadow Man look like me, but put on the dark glasses. And I thought, wow. And I had to do lines like, "I am the Lord of Deadside, Shadowborn at the confluence of the worlds to walk between." And I was one of those evil characters, but I was dead, but I was alive, and yeah, I've been pulled up, but I think that was because it was memorable. It was my first one, and I really caned it, and I thought, wow. And that's when I thought I made it, because my game was going worldwide on PlayStation. The guys at Acclaim Studios made it, and I just thought, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay, man. And I kind of started to grow with belief, but it took a while before I really got into it. But I think that's my favorite project. I'd say my favorite project. Yeah, I'd say that was it.
Am I right that?
No, well, maybe not. Actually,
okay.
I got two seconds.
Yeah,
Tim Burton's one.
Yeah. Oh,
Tim Burton's. That was really strange, because many moons ago, I was working in a place called in Soho, Wardour Street. Place called was it Jungle or Lip Sync Studios or something like that. I think it was Jungle, actually. And the engineer was in there. He was working his behind off and all the rest of it. Anyway, he disappeared, and they changed like they do. And I hadn't seen him for donkey's years. And basically, he loved everything that I did. And he was now working with Tim Burton as his right-hand man, who does all of his musical stuff and special effects and whatever. Anyway, I get a call. My agent says, "Hey, Red, Tim Burton wants to speak to you." And like I said, I'm a humble man, so I'm not rubbing shoulders with all the rich and famous all the time. Even though I get invited to, I'm not really that kind of a character, to my agent's disgust. And she said, "Tim Burton wants to talk to you." I says, yeah, I know. Hey. So I said, "Tim Burton, how about that? Tim Burton." So I said, "Like the Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands Tim Burton, Charlie." Yes, that Tim Burton. I said, "All right, So I get a call. Well, I spoke to him, really. I called him, and he says, yes, well, I'd like you to work on a project I'm doing right now. And I says, cool. So you've been highly recommended. And I thought, who's highly recommended me? Because I'm still humble, even though sometimes I go places and I just get treated like God sometimes. But mostly I can walk through the street. Nobody knows me, which is great. Yeah, so I'll get up to his fancy place in a special part of London. And he says, yeah, you've been the engineer here. And I looked at this engineer. I says, oh my God, I haven't seen you for 15 years or whatever. And he says, yeah, I told Tim that you could do the job, so do it. I says, what do you want me to do? And he says, I heard that you can do fantastic sounds like ghouls and all the rest of it. And I says, well, yeah, but I'm kind of in awe of Tim Burton. It's like, Tim Burton, man, seriously? Okay, so what do you want me to do? Because I want you to go in that room. And because this is Hollywood now, this is serious. So we've got microphones, tiny microphones, huge microphones I've ever seen. And he said, if you stand on the mark and you got these mics hanging from the ceiling everywhere, beautiful place. And he says, just listen to directions. I said, okay. He goes, I just want you to sound like you're dead, but you're alive. You're struggling to come to either world, either to die or to stay alive. And just do your thing. And I says, son of a bitch, okay. So I just came out with this, and that kind of stuff. And he's like on the other side of the glass going, sustain it, sustain it, sustain. And I think, yes, more horror, more horror, more horror. And I'm thinking, I was making all kind of mad sounds. And he says, yes. And he's just, I'm thinking, this is Tim Burton. This was the gig that just blew my mind, because I was in there for a couple of hours just doing crazy noises. And that was for the movie Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And there was noises in the background. And a lot of the noises in there, and the ghoul noises and all the rest of it, I was doing. And that was so cool. I mean, you wasn't using my voice per se for words, but it was just all of that. And but see, he didn't want to do it synthesized. He wanted a real voice, because Tim is very particular about stuff. And so that was a cool gig. I really enjoyed doing that. I really did.
But you know what, that expression that you just done there, and using your voice for other things that we don't even know, I think that's what's really interesting, because that's how you've sustained your career too, haven't you? Because you do so many different voices for commercials and all the rest, but your voice, the voice acting part of your life is to do a range of things that, as you rightly say, we don't necessarily know that you're doing, because we're not recognizing that movie voice as such.
Yeah, exactly. But I always said, don't be a one-trick pony. If I had to depend on in a world for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have much work. So you got to take you out of it. A lot of people become stars and they forget that they're human beings. They're trying to make a living. And if you have a bit of a range, you stand a chance of having a long career. I never thought I'd be in this career, 26 years, 27 years, something like that. I never thought that in a million years that would happen. And every single year that I go by and someone says to me, you do the movie trailers, don't you? And I'm thinking, yeah, well, I haven't done one for a while, but I'm still standing and I'm still current and I'm still making a lot of stuff and I'm doing stuff that you didn't know. And I'm still getting paid. Because I'm not interested in being known. I'm not interested in being that guy on the street that everybody says, oh, wow. So occasionally I'll do something like, celebrity eggheads or something. I'll get on these shows and I do these shows. Yeah.
You did Pointless Celebrity. I remember with our good friend, Marcus Bentley, the voice of Big Brother.
That's right. Marcus and I were teamed up, and I thought we had an awesome team. I says, Marcus, I got this. They said to me the agreement was, you're going to do a celebrity egghead. And when I grew up, because I'm 60 years old, I know I look like I'm 20, but I'm 60 years old, right? And when back in the day, when they said, you're going on a game show, you got to dress up. And they said, dress up. And so I got on my sunset orange suit. I'm looking fly, nice black shirt, sunset orange suit. So I walk in there, and everybody's got on leather jacket, jeans, just looking like it's a Sunday afternoon down the pub. And I said, oh, Jesus, I look a bit overdressed. And Marcus, he's with my same agency, and he says, I can't do his Newcastle accent, but he says, see, you've made the effort. Yeah, see, you've made the effort. And I says, yeah, well, what's up with you? He goes, oh, don't worry about it. So we were a team. So we get through all of this. We're flying through. We get into all the great questions because I've got 64,000 records. I'm a music man. So when the music questions came up, Marcus, I got this. The answer is Prince. The answer is this. The answer is that. I know a bit about history, so I knew, I know that was a Queen's speech. That was this. We was flying. We got to the end. And then I forgot the host. He said, Alexander or somebody. He said,
Alexander, yeah.
Okay, this final round is about flowers. I looked at Marcus. Marcus looked up at me. I don't know. And he says, okay, pick out some of these flowers. And I'm thinking, oh, man, we're finished now. I didn't have a clue about flowers. I said to him, do I look like a flowers kind of a guy? Come on now. And we went out on the final round for flowers. But Marcus is such a cool guy. He lives in Kent as well. He was living down Broadstairs side, and we used to live down that way. And every now and then we used to bump into each other and have a drink and whatever. And Joe Pasquale lives a mile down the road from me, and he's got a totally different. All right, Red. So when we're sitting down having a coffee,
I want to hear that conversation.
It's so funny because he knows, and he says, "You watch this. What's going to happen? Just talk to me. We talk together." And he said, "Yeah, well, I've just got to go down the bank and get my." So how's things with you? Nah, it's all right, Red. And he does that, and it's so. And then I'll take the mick out of him. I says, I can talk like you. Go on then. And I'll say, oh, my name's Joe Pasquale. I didn't know you could do that. So it's because you can. I got something in my head that I can bring that tone up. I can go, I'm lucky in that respect, but my natural tone is right here. And people always said to me, that's not your real voice. If it wasn't my real voice, you could never sustain it. You just couldn't. You would sound really staccato. You'd sound really like you're forcing it. So many guys say to me, I can do what you're doing. And they'll send me tapes, and it's typical. Yeah, the guys are coming. Yeah, in 1874. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus. And you got to let them down gently and tell them, no, you just sound like you're squeezing something out. It doesn't, no. It's got to come natural.
Yeah.
It's got to come natural. You understand what I'm saying? It's got to be in 1874. Can you see there's natural power, natural presence, natural authority. It's got to be natural. You can't do that. If it's fake, you'd soon be found out. 26 years. Come on.
26 years and still continuing to do some incredible work. I think the reaction we're getting from the feed of people sending their messages, which lots of people will see after this recording has gone out, are saying things along the lines of this definitely deserves a part 2. So if you guys could get back together again, I'm sure we'd both love to do that. Actually, we're just coming towards the end.
Go on all night.
I know we would. We're coming towards the end of our time together. And Benji, we're definitely going to do a part 2. I think, Benji, thank you for that. It's World Book Day today, and I know that words mean so much to you. You absolutely love to enjoy the power of words and how they are said. I wonder if you could maybe leave something with us, something just to end our conversation together, if that's cool.
Well, let me. There's a poem which I've kept close to my heart for many, many years because my father used to tell me, this is a poem you should keep in your breast pocket all the time, and every now and then when you feel like being an ass or acting like a boy, read this and you'll forget about it. Rudyard Kipling wrote it. It's called If, and it's very familiar to a lot of people, but let me give you the way I'll do it. Hopefully you can hear the music behind it. I'm going to put some music behind here. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting. For being lied about, don't deal in lies. For being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve you long after they're gone. And so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with the crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foe nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving moment with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. That was just something that I feel every now and then. And that poem means a lot to me. And it should mean everything to everybody, because that is what life is all about. My father used to say to me, life is not what you make it. Life is how you take it. Life is not what you make it. It's how you take it. Attitude, attitude, attitude. Everything is about attitude. Trust me.
Red, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for being on the conversation with us. It's so, in these times, it's so life affirming as well, just to chat and just to have a conversation and just to talk about, experiences and how you got to where you are and what you're doing. And as you rightly say, anyone who's been watching this tonight will just absolutely hear how you respect what you do, you honor what you do, and it isn't something you do lightly. And I can imagine what it must be like working with you in a studio where you treat every day in the same way, going in with passion, going in with excitement for a new day. Red Pepper, thank you for being with us. We'll definitely do it as part 2. And thank you for being part of the conversation tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. And if you can, just follow me on this Instagram. My son keeps telling me, don't forget to plug your Instagram. It's like, come on now. Red Pepper 1, am I? I forget. Red Pepper 01, REDD Pepper 01. That's the Instagram. And on Twitter, I'm at the Red Pepper. It's 2 D's in red. So it's Red Pepper 01 on Insta and at the Red Pepper on Twitter. Appreciate that.
Red, and you've also just launched, I know, because I've been watching it avidly, the YouTube channel where you actually take us behind the scenes. We come to the booth there with you like we have tonight, and we learn some of the tricks of your trade, and you talk about all those things that we've kind of chatted about, microphones, but very much the creation of sound. So people should check out that on YouTube as well by just finding your name, and they'll find it. Red, for now, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. It really has, Dominic. We should do it again. I'm happy to do a part 2. This is what I live for. Just good conversation and sending something back to folks and let them understand and be passionate about something. And when they think that maybe they can make it, yes, they can. Perseverance, attitude, 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 baby. Really is a pleasure, Dominic. Seriously.
Red Pepper with us on the conversation this week. It's now just after midnight. It's Friday morning. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for watching. And thank you for all the brilliant comments as well. Just a reminder that we love hearing from you. So please do get in contact with us and tell us what you think about what we're doing, who you would like to hear from the creative industries in the future on this live stream. It's something I really enjoy. It's something that now 5 editions on, I think we're really getting into our groove about what we're doing it for. And I hope you're getting as much out of it as I am too. But from me, for now, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate you stopping by, and we will be together soon. I've got some amazing guests like REDD who are going to be with us on these live streams in the coming weeks. So just keep watching on social media. Follow Laughing Frog Productions on Twitter. Do keep in touch with me as well. And you can find me very easily. Just type in my name. And thank you so much. From us, for now, good morning.